After nearly 10 years since its disappearance, Double Tap is finally coming to Black Ops 6 Zombies. Have Treyarch made this perk better? Have they made this perk worse? We're going to dive into the complexities and history of the Double Tap perk and really see if this is the best balanced version of Double Tap that we've had yet. Double Tap is one of the most iconic perks in Call of Duty Zombies history. First introduced in 2009 in the Call of Duty World at War Zombies map Verrückt. This was the very first iteration of the Double Tap perk, with this iconic yellow perk machine dispensing a perk bottle that when drunk gave you the Double Tap perk, with the perk icon appearing in the bottom left of your screen showing 2 bullets. Now it's important you understand that this is the original iteration of the Double Tap perk, which increased the firing rate of all weapons by 33%. This made all weapons, but especially pump action shotguns and bolt action rifles, to have increased shoot to fire speed. Whilst at its core increasing the fire rate is incredibly awesome, this also increased the recoil by the same amount, and so depending on the weapon you were using, sometimes Double Tap wasn't the best pairing. As with weapons with larger magazine sizes, you could run into ammo problems extremely quickly, as the ammo would just disappear within a blink of an eye. It was clear that this perk originated from the multiplayer version of Double Tap, where just like the Zombies version, increased the rate of fire by 33%. Once the dust had settled on World at War Zombies, fans realized that the Double Tap perk wasn't actually as useful as it sounded on paper. And when it was brought back in Black Ops 1 Zombies, a majority of the players would ignore buying the perk, as the disadvantages of increased recoil, going through ammunition quicker, and the classic 4 perk limit meant that players were being more strategical with what perks they purchased. Treyarch noticed that there was clearly some flaws with this perk. It was completely reworked and introduced in Black Ops 2 Zombies as Double Tap Root Beer 2.0. This evolution of the perk retained the increase in fire rate, but allowed any projectile weapon to now shoot 2 bullets for every 1 bullet fired, effectively doubling the damage of any weapon in the game. On top of that, Treyarch also made improvements from the original iteration, where the fire rate wasn't increased by such a drastic amount, making weapons a lot easier to control with less recoil added, and it no longer negatively impacted your ammo reserves. This completely transformed the perk from being one which was ignored in every Zombies game to now one that you had to have in every Zombies game, making it an absolute crutch perk that allowed most weapons to take you into much higher rounds. This iteration of Double Tap was also brought into Black Ops 3 Zombies, and the perk icon got a little bit of a makeover to visually explain the new change to Double Tap, in which 1 bullet now becomes 2. So now that brings us to Black Ops 6 Zombies, where nearly 10 years later this perk is finally back. Why did it take Treyarch so long to bring this beloved perk back to Zombies? Well, with how we saw it in its 2.0 version, it became such a crutch perk, there was no question about it. You had to get it if you wanted to do more damage and to survive to higher rounds. It became as much as a crutch as the Juggernog perk to increase your health. And with Black Ops 4 Zombies, Treyarch wanted to get rid of the idea of crutch perks altogether, and to instead add an arsenal of perks which would just aid your gameplay rather than be ones you absolutely had to run in order to survive. This meant that Double Tap was completely removed from the game, and the only way to get a damage increase in Black Ops 4 was to simply pack-a-punch the gun multiple times. This was clearly a much more complicated system than just having the perk to begin with, and so for the last few years, Treyarch have definitely been back at the drawing board with how they introduced this perk again. So now we finally have it back in Black Ops 6 Zombies. What will this look like for the overall meta of Black Ops 6 Zombies, high rounds, and weapons? Well, on paper, Double Tap 2.0 would make literally every weapon perform for double the amount of rounds that they currently are strong for. As amazing as this idea sounds on paper, this would completely throw out the overall balance of the game. Every zombie type, enemy, and boss fight have been tuned for a certain difficulty level with a certain amount of health and damage. Adding the 2.0 effect immediately off the gate would just break this entirely. So what is quite clever from Treyarch is that this perk is actually a best of both. It's a combination of 1.0 and 2.0, where at its core, the Double Tap perk in Black Ops 6 Zombies will dramatically increase your weapon's fire rate, which is exactly what the original version of the perk did. But through powerful enhancements in the augments tree, you can actually adjust this perk to fire an even faster fire rate if you wanted it, or for the chance for double tap to inflict double damage, which does reflect the 2.0 version of the perk. Let's break down some of the augments for double tap to really work out which ones are going to be the most beneficial for gameplay. In the major augments category, we have double jeopardy, double impact, and double standard. Double jeopardy adds the additional function of normal zombies at low health having a chance to die immediately when shot. Depending on how often the odds are of this happening, this is even more powerful than the equivalent of doing double damage when the zombies are at low health. This augment alone could completely transform some of the worst performing weapons in the game to be more viable at higher rounds, as it would effectively take less bullets to take out normal zombies. Second major augment is double impact, where double hits on the same target in quick succession deal more damage. In the case of certain weapons shooting multiple bullets at once, this is effectively like double tap 1.75, where it says it deals more damage, but it doesn't say that it does double damage. And with the wording being double hits, it doesn't specify if that is multiple automatic firing weapon bullets at once. It sounds like it is, but it sounds like hitting a target in the same area in quick succession will deal you more damage, and we're always going to be shooting zombies in the head as that's what gives the most damage, so you're effectively getting a double tap 2.0 of sorts effect some of the time. Final major augment is double standard, where all non-critical shots do double damage, and it only applies to normal bullet weapons. And in the case of weapons where you will always be hip firing them, which could be something like the very overpowered ASG shotgun, you weren't going for headshots, which could be really useful in boss fights, you will always be doing double damage, which is effectively double tap 2.0. Now, they specify it only applies to normal bullet weapons, and that's because in the older games, double tap 2.0 actually transferred over to wonder weapons, allowing them to shoot faster, doing more damage, etc. So this is their way of balancing it out. The only downside to this is it doesn't count for critical shots. Still a little bit early, but for me, the best major augment to choose out of these three are either double impact or double standard. Double impact giving you some additional benefits for critical kills. Double standard will make any hip firing weapon shot at a zombie's body, like armored zombies, do double damage, which will be especially useful. For the minor augments, we have the options double time, double or nothing, or double play. Double time will increase the fire rate bonus. Double or nothing allows weapons to have a chance to do double damage, but also have a chance to do 0 damage. And then double play, where killing 2 zombies in quick succession has a chance to return 2 rounds to your magazine, which only applies to normal bullet weapons. Double or nothing might be one of the wildest minor augments we've seen in this game, because it's literally like you're at a casino. Any moment, a weapon will have a chance to deal double damage, but also has a chance to do 0 damage. And doing some simple maths here, on paper it reads that there's a 50% chance of either doubling your damage or doing no damage, but I would like to think that the odds are skewed more towards double damage actually happening. Otherwise, it's really going to deter people from even running this augment. This is effectively double tap 2.0, clear as day, but laid out as a game of chance. What if Treyarch were such trolls with this perk that there was some sort of RNG where it is entirely random when it happens? For something like an explosive weapon or a semi-auto weapon like a sniper, there could be like a whole clip where none of those bullets do any damage. I'm really interested in testing this once the perk comes out. But if the augments stack on top of each other, then double or nothing and then the double standard major augment could be absolutely insane, as one dealing double damage and the other having a chance to do double damage means that you could theoretically get 4 times damage sometimes. But heavy emphasis on the sometimes, because firing and having no damage applied to a zombie just sounds like something that you wouldn't want to gamble with. I know some players are definitely going to want to have the choice, but it all comes down to how the odds stack in the favor of the player with regards to how often this will have the higher damage apply. The final minor augment on the list is double play, where killing 2 zombies in quick succession has a chance to return 2 rounds to your magazine, and it only applies to normal bullet weapons. Now, this also plays in a little bit with the original version of double tap, where it would use a lot more of your ammo quicker, but with this, it would actually have a chance to return rounds to you. Whilst this won't actually affect your damage per second with double tap, it will cut back on how often you're going to reload the weapon that you'll naturally experience with a faster firing rate weapon. So that is pretty good, but We already have quite a lot at our disposal in the game now when it comes to ammo, like Vulture Raid. The amount of ammo drops you get from Vulture Raid and the chance of increasing them means that ammo is very rarely a problem, but this wouldn't necessarily improve how much ammo you have, but more so that you'll need to reload less often, which for a really high magazine weapon like the 300 round SMG or LMGs, this can actually be pretty useful. So out of the two, it's between double or nothing and double play in my opinion for the best minor augments to choose from. I'd love to know your thoughts about how Treyarch have gone about tackling double tap in Black Ops 6 Zombies and if you're excited for it or not. If you want to see a full breakdown of absolutely everything coming for Season 3 of Black Ops 6 Zombies, including all of the new gobblegums, the new enemy types, a look at the map, then check out this massive deep dive video on your screen right now.